Hello, hello. We're back with episode 2. We got some models in this room. Jamie. Hi. Jamie is our nice, beautiful, tall, elegant.
Stop it.
When you think model, you think Jamie. Like,
Stop
how
that
tall
right
are
now.
you?
6 foot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I'm actually a little tall to be a model, but
but you're like the ideal model. And people are like, oh, you
Stop.
model? Like, you think of Jamie because you got the colored eyes, you got the tall height, you got the hair.
Thank you. Didn't know I was getting compliments today.
Stop.
Stop.
Okay. So we're gonna dive into when did you know like you wanted to become a model? Like, as for me, modeling was not in my, career. Modeling, I didn't want. I feel like it found me. I like to take pictures. Like me and my friend, we would go take pictures. She had a camera, but she was no photographer. Let me tell you. We would just go, oh, let's go take pictures, and we'd go to the park and take pictures. But it wasn't until I had a friend. He was like, hey, can you model for my clothing line? Right? And I was like, sure. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. It was so funny because the whole photo shoot, I was wearing sunglasses. I was like, what? But the more he had asked me, this was like in 2019, the more he asked me, the more I was like, okay, I actually like this. So then I found a modeling school I went to, and then from there I just started doing
a
it.
thing for
Yeah.
you. That's awesome. For me, I was when you're 5'10" at 12 years old, and people are like, you should be a model. And I'm like, okay. And then when I was 13, I think my mom, we did like a at-home modeling photo shoot, and pretty sure it was a throwaway camera. And I mean, the pictures were awful, but you know how moms are. They're like, oh my gosh, you're so beautiful. You should be a model. I love this. So that's when I knew I maybe one day wanted to be a model. I was just so tall, so young. But then it was about 17 when I like made the decision to actually become a model. So like 4 years later.
How did that happen?
Oh my goodness. So my mom's a flight attendant, and we went to Vegas just for a fun weekend trip. She actually was working the flight, and I was just there for fun. And I walked her to her gate where she was flying to Dallas, and I was flying back home to Kentucky. And she was just being so obnoxious, just like trying to embarrass me in front of all the people sitting at the gate. And I kind of walked away like, oh my God. And when I got to Kentucky, she had left me a message saying that there was a guy on her flight that, one, really wanted to take me out. And two, he was a former model with the Kim Dawson Agency. And he wanted to introduce me, to the Dallas modeling scene. So just maybe a couple months later, I flew to Dallas and met up with him, and it was kind of, all downhill from there.
Downhill
or uphill, whatever the good one is.
uphill.
It was all uphill from there.
Were you living in Kentucky?
At the time, yeah. My mom was based there as a flight attendant. All my family was here. I'm from here, so it all just kind of worked out that, that's where the guy, was and wanted to introduce me to an agency.
Oh, okay. So didn't you you went to LA, right?
Yeah, so eventually the first place I went to was actually Italy. That was my first. I was maybe 2 or 3 months into modeling, and I did the whole fashion week there, and then I ended up living there for a few months. And then I came back to Dallas, eventually went to Miami, and then from Miami I moved to LA.
Yeah, you were the it girl, the model, the one who travels. You did the high fashion, you did the runway, you did.
Yes,
I did. You literally were like the model, like the one living in LA.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, for sure.
Well, like when you look back at your whole modeling experience, what are the things that like shaped you as a person? Pros or cons?
I'd say that when you're traveling so young, I mean, I was only 17. I mean, I think I turned 18 in Italy, and another birthday was, somewhere else. It really I guess helps you to get cultured. I mean, it's a really cool thing to travel to all these different places at such a young age. And I was by myself. My mom, she'd meet up with me sometimes, but I was basically traveling the world by myself, and that teaches you a lot. It teaches you a lot about culture and a lot about like just kind of how to survive in the world. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Like for me, I just felt like the confidence, the working out, okay, I want to look better, I want to feel better. And because before, I didn't really started getting like into the whole working out until I actually started
Same.
CrossFit, So me and Jamie actually met at CrossFit, guys. So she actually owns the CrossFit gym that I went to. So when I started the CrossFit, that's when I was like, okay, I like this.
Is that when you started with modeling too, about the same time?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it happened like.
Is that why you started CrossFit? Was because of the modeling, or it just was the same time?
Originally, I started CrossFit because I wanted to be a cop.
I didn't know
like
that.
I was good. I had, you take the written test, and then I only ever did it one time though. Like obviously, something that didn't keep me.
I had no idea.
Because I was like, oh, you have to take the written test, and then you do there's like the physical exam, and I was like, I can't work out, I can't run, I can't push things. So I was like, I joined the CrossFit, and then I had noticed I think I was in like Orlando a few months before I joined CrossFit, and I was like, ew. Like, ew. I was like, Mom, I was like, ew. Like, I just felt like I was probably gaining weight, maybe, and I was like, okay. So those kind of things factored in, but that's when, obviously, I only ever took that written test one time and pursued modeling from then.
Yeah.
But
that's
how that happened.
That's awesome.
I know. So when did you officially stop quitting modeling? Because back then when you were modeling, things were so different compared to where they are now.
Yeah. So I would say that the best part of my career was probably between the age of 17 and right before I got pregnant with my daughter at 22, 23. So even though that's a short amount of time, I mean, I had this crazy career, but until then, or when that happened, when I had my daughter, even though I still modeled here and there, I was kind of over, you get a new perspective. So before my daughter, all I was trying to make sure I fit the mold of modeling. You have to have perfect skin, perfect hair. You have to, be certain measurements to be successful. And so up until about when I had her, that was kind of my identity. So that's probably a con of my experience with modeling, is that if I wasn't absolutely physically perfect from head to toe, I just didn't feel right. Like I wasn't confident or secure. And then when I had my daughter, I didn't want her to adopt that way of thinking and think that she had to be perfect. Mm-hmm. I forgot what the question was.
I was saying, what has changed since you were a model to modeling today? Because I know you, because you did everything. You were the high fashion tall. You had all of it, the size and whatever. But I feel like now there's more curve models. There's more, commercial models. It's not just strictly you got to be 5'8", 5'9", blue eyes, blonde hair. It's different now. Everybody, there's all shapes and sizes. And
yeah, I love that. I love that they changed that. I know one thing that changed as I was transitioning out of modeling, especially in Dallas, was for the commercial, JCPenney's and Dillard's, they started to use more either mannequins and less models, because JCPenney's and Dillard's were huge in Dallas. I mean, that's where most of us made most of our money here in Dallas. But they started, I don't know if it was to save money or what the deal was, but they started using mannequins or just your chin down. Oh, okay. And I know that put a lot of us, I wouldn't say completely out of work, but a lot of us started to maybe not have as many jobs because of that. And I know for a lot of us back then, we all started transitioning into you know, I became a personal trainer. Some people became real estate agents and stuff like that. But how it is now, I'm not sure. I think you would know more about that.
Well, yeah, now I mean, it's way different. Like, because as far as for me, though, I'm more like a commercial model. Like, I don't do the runway because, first of all, I mean, I can do runway, but I'm not tall enough. And also, it's not really I don't find that as interesting as commercial.
Yeah.
Like.
Oh, commercial is so much more fun than.
And then I started getting into the whole acting too. So that kind of gears for me too. But what do you think like has been the hardest thing about like being a model?
Kind of what I said earlier about having to fit this perfect mold. And I mean, eventually, like for me, eventually I just wasn't, I had a kid and I gained some more curvature.
Where?
In my booty. And it's like at some point, like no matter how hard I tried, it was hard to be the size that they required me to be. And that was really devastating for me. And that was a hard blow. It was something that I had to accept, that I'm not that perfect tiny little thing anymore. And yeah, so it was a big blow to my ego, I guess.
Yeah. I feel like for me, more like people think, oh, because you're a model, you have like this so-called entitlement. And I was just like, I don't know because if you look like on social media, like, of course, it's like my modeling profile. So I'm going to post mainly modeling stuff, work, what I'm doing, But like, to me, I'm just like the girl you met, at CrossFit that didn't know how to lift, I just don't feel like when people are like, oh, she's a model, she thinks she's all that. Like, no. I just feel like being a model, you get that that criticism or that judgment from others who.
When I would say like when I was like 17 to before I married my husband, I would say that I probably, because all I did was hang out with, these fashion models. And I would probably say that I thought I was a lot cooler than I actually was. And then you get a family and that humbles you. And then, God's been humbling me ever since. But there was definitely a period of time where I thought I was.
Well, you were living the model dream. You were like in LA and everything, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, I know it's a whole different world out there.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
as for me, I'm just like, no, I'm just Kimbo. Kimbo.
That's how I've been the past few years. But it was definitely something I needed to change for sure.
Yeah. So. Would you ever like do it again? Like, would there be anything where like that you would change about it now?
Like, are you saying like looking back?
Yeah, looking back, would you ever? Would you do it all over again if you could? Basically,
probably, yeah, because it definitely like it was. I mean, it was so much fun. Like it on top of me being young and making good money and being semi-successful, it was fun traveling the world and doing all those things. Yeah, I wouldn't take that back. Wait, I wouldn't change that. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have changed anything. Maybe my perspective of myself, like I wouldn't have thought I was such, hot crap. But besides that, yeah, no, it was awesome.
So you just switched gears though, right? Because you wanted to be business now. Like you put the modeling, it's like something you're just like, okay,
yeah,
never mind.
I'm pretty done.
Yeah.
That's like in the past. Yeah, now I'm about to graduate. And
I know. I feel like we switched because when I started modeling, I went to the modeling school, I was like 26. I was the oldest one. And you got these kids, like, they're like 10, 19, 18, and I'm just like...
Yeah, but you look
I don't know if I want to be a model. Like, I don't know if this is... Sorry, somebody walked in, I got distracted. We're just going to wait for a couple seconds. Okay. Like, I feel like it switched for me, because when I was 18, I didn't know I was just going to school because my dad told me, hey, you need to go to school, you need to do this, you need to do that. Now I was just like, I feel like I'm barely, now that I'm older, I'm finding like, okay, this is what I really want to do. I feel like I'm way more career driven now than the way I was before. And then I know you said I don't look as old as I am. That's why I don't tell people my age.
Yeah, we weren't supposed to do that.
No one knows how old I am, okay? And it's going to stay that way. So that's why, because people they think I'm in my early 20s, I'm just like, yeah, I am. No, I'm just kidding. I don't say that. But
that works for you, though. That's awesome.
To me, I just feel like, I was like, oh, I kind of started late in the game, but I mean, it is what it is, because there's some people that are still like, your age, basically, that are still modeling, still doing it. And but I don't know.
I think you're perfect for what you're trying to do.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
It's thanks to my mom, because my mom does not look like she's going to be 50 in July.
No, she doesn't.
I know, right?
And you look just like her, too. She's super cute.
It's because of her that
you got the good genetics.
Right. What do you call it? So your husband, he was acting too, right? Because that's where y'all met in LA.
No, we met in Kentucky, actually.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought y'all met in LA.
No, we went to high school together in Kentucky.
And then y'all just magically found each other in LA.
So yeah, he a couple of weeks into, so I started my junior year and he was a senior, and a couple of weeks into just the start of school, he moved to LA to be an actor. So yeah, just eventually we ended up in the same spot. It was fate.
That is like so crazy to me, honestly.
It was fate.
He was in that I saw it the other day, that Ashley Tisdale. If y'all know who Ashley Tisdale is, right? Well, she was a
Disney actress?
She was a Disney actor, right? What was she in?
Oh, she was in High School Musical.
There you go. That's where. Okay, she was a blonde one. Mm-hmm. So Jamie's husband was actually the one that got to kiss her on the cheek.
In the music video, Kiss the Girl.
It was from the Little Mermaid. Was it the Little?
Yeah.
It was like a remake of Little Mermaid or something.
Yeah. It was so funny because, I was still in high school and he was off in LA filming this or whatever. And he posted on MySpace. We had MySpace back then.
I remember that because I had one too.
Yeah, it was. And he was like, oh, I have something really crazy, that's going to come out, big surprise. And then he was so proud of this music video. Now, if you bring it up, he's like embarrassed of it. But back then, and finally he released it on his MySpace. It was hilarious. And it's a cute little music video, but the whole music video is about kissing the girl. And it's so annoying because the entire music video, he never actually kisses the girl. At
just
the end,
on the cheek,
yeah,
right?
At the end, he kisses her on the cheek, which was so annoying. I shouldn't say that as his wife, but
I thought they didn't let. He never told you why. Like, Well, she wasn't. Was that before or after she did High School Musical? That was probably before.
I think it was before.
Yeah, she wasn't as.
Yeah, I forgot what she was famous for before that, but it's. A peck on the lips or something.
The whole song is called Kiss the Girl.
Yes, and a kiss on the cheek. But yeah, he was so proud of that music video back then, and now he's super embarrassed if you bring it up.
But he was, if y'all see Jamie's husband, in the music video, he was like, he had the brown hair, the shaggy brown hair, where you flip your, like
the
that,
Justin Bieber,
that move where you flip your hair and then you got you shag it up a little bit.
Oh yeah, he left for LA with short, spiky hair and came back to Kentucky with that hairdo, and I was like, oh my gosh, he was still cute though. He was still cute.
He was Justin Bieber.
Yeah, that was
brunette Justin Bieber.
Way before Justin Bieber too.
I know.
Justin Bieber was like a baby. I still thought he was hot. Not Justin Bieber. Talent.
Okay, so. Jamie has a funny story to share. All right. So Jamie went to Hawaii a few weeks ago, right?
Yes.
So she actually, Jamie was a model. Well, this one, she used her acting abilities. And this airport story, tell us what you did.
Oh my gosh. So let me see if I can make it like a Reader's Digest version. We had
Reader's Digest.
If y'all don't know what that is, no, I'm just kidding. I had my daughter and my little baby cousin with me, and then my mother-in-law and my mom. So my mother-in-law works for Delta, or she's retired now, and my mom's an actual flight attendant for Delta. So I don't know how it worked out, but somehow how our tickets were booked, they all had like priority to walk to the front of the security line, and I didn't. Out of all 5 of us, I was the only one that didn't have any priority. But so we get there, and the line is probably 2 hours long. I mean, it's like 4:00 in the morning, and the security line is like crazy long. And my mother-in-law takes my daughter and my cousin through security immediately because they had whatever priority they had. And I didn't. And so like, we know that if we don't come up with some, genius plan to get me to the front of the line, to get me to the gate, that I was going to miss the flight and not get to go to Hawaii with them. And so we're like my mom and she stayed with me while my mother-in-law took them through security, and we're in a like frantic. We're like in a tizzy trying to figure out how the heck I'm going to get on this flight. And I walk up to like the agent or whatever that's kind of just directing people, and my mom and I are like, what do we do? Like, we're gonna miss the flight if we get to the end of or if we go to the end of the line. And she's like, you see that wheelchair lady over there? She goes, just start limping. I was like, I can't do that, God's watching. But I had no other option. So I all of a sudden developed a limp. And
was it on the left or the right leg?
I think it switched because I couldn't remember. So I just that second twisted my ankle and limped over to the wheelchair lady. And my mom was like, my daughter twisted her ankle, can you take her through security? So the lady was like, oh yeah, absolutely. So I got in the wheelchair and she took me to the front of security and actually took me all the way to my gate. And
then 8-9 hours later, Jamie was in Hawaii.
and as soon as she left, my ankle was cured. It was crazy.
That's hilarious.
I felt so immoral for that whole thing. Like, I couldn't even tell my daughter how I got to in front of security and to the gate because I felt so bad. Yeah, she asked. I was like, oh, it just happened. It was just magic.
Just by the grace of God, he let me come to the front.
Oh, I felt so guilty. But yep, I made it to Hawaii, guys.
Gosh. All right, y'all. Well, I would have a pizza here, but Jamie's on this strict diet. So. Only because you're doing what? A challenge, right?
Yeah, our gym is doing a challenge. So otherwise, I'd be scarfing down some pizza. Stuffed crust with pepperoni.
Well, I don't do CrossFit anymore, so. But Jamie, is still going strong. Stuffed crust pepperoni, that's your favorite?
Yes.
Yeah, I love the stuffed crust.
There's this one at Walmart that Talon discovered, and it not only has the crust is stuffed, but like the whole bottom layer of the pizza is stuffed, and it's just...
Really?
Ugh.
So it's like cheese and bread on top of cheese and bread on top of cheese and bread? Well, Jamie didn't want any pizza, but there would have been pizza here.
Now I want some.
But all right, guys. Thank y'all. Thank you, Jamie.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you, all the listeners, for tuning into my first episode, tuning into the second. You can find me on YouTube, y'all. YouTube fam, make sure y'all subscribe, like, comment, and also I am on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music because they don't have Amazon Podcasts, and Spotify. All right, y'all. We'll see y'all in 2.